What's poppin', everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. This is your preview for the game against Brentford in the Premier League at Old Trafford. Thank God it's a home game and not an away game, because we can't be doing with another one of them. Still another very tough fixture against the Brentford side, who have been punching above the weight this season and have a relatively good record against the traditional top six. We're going to get into all the preview and all things very shortly. But on today's show, we've got Sam and Adam. Lads, first of all, how are we doing? And are we a bit more nervous than anticipated after that Newcastle game?
I wasn't really expecting much from the game. I didn't think we just throw in the towel that early. And for me, I think it was worse than the Liverpool game. I know the scoreline flattered Liverpool, but we got absolutely outplayed in every department. We just weren't running to the ball. We weren't trying to break down their attacks. And then it came out after the game that they were targeting David De Gea from goal kicks. So it's something that the opposition teams now recognise. I had a great day on Sunday, other than the game. I tried not to let it affect my mood, but it kind of always does. But of course, disappointment. But we have to try and bounce back now tomorrow night.
Yeah, absolutely. I second that message. You try not to let it ruin it, but it fucking does. It certainly does. Yeah. Especially a Sunday as well, when you've already got that gloomy feeling and it's just shit because it's Monday the next day. Sam, have you got that shit Sunday feeling still? Is it still lingering about?
I had a bad day Sunday, so that was just a crowning turd on the achievement that was my Sunday. So it didn't get much better for me. But we're at home tomorrow. We've got a good record at home. I think we're unbeaten, aren't we, at home? I believe.
Not all season.
21 games.
21 games. Lost one or something, yeah.
So I'm a little bit more confident, but yeah, Brentford are a very tricky team, and I do not expect it to be easy in the slightest because they're a very good team this season. So yeah.
I'm going to touch on the record shortly as well against the top six, because that's pretty impressive. But before we get stuck into the preview, please click that subscribe button to support the channel. And if you want to become a Real Red Ultra to receive exclusive content, a badge next to your name, and a chance to join in on the show. Also, I think we released, I know I released a video last night, head-to-head, Diego Dallo versus Jeremy Frimpong, the hot topic at the minute. It's a very good video, and that's for members only. So if you want to see content like that and have a few other little exclusive bits, then yeah, just click the join button next to the notification bell. I'll be live tomorrow from 7 o'clock for team news. I think the kickoff's about 8 o'clock. Yeah. So make sure you come and join me for the watch along. As always, I appreciate your company and people interacting. So yeah, I think that's that. It's time for the good old fashioned warm-up, lads. So I'm going to name you each United player who started in that Newcastle game, and just give me the first few words or word that comes to mind. Yeah?
I know where this is going.
Okay. It should be interesting. Obviously, people in the chat, if you want to get involved as well, more than welcome to. So we'll start David De Gea.
Distribution.
Yeah, sick of his distribution.
Okay. Diego Dallo.
Offensively unaware.
Not back to his best yet.
Rafael Varane. Solid.
Frustration.
Frustration. Okay.
But not from me to him, but I mean in terms of, you probably saw the clip with De Gea when he was telling him to pass it out to Dallo.
Yeah. Sam?
Solid foundation. Just being let down by other players.
This one's slightly more positive. Lissandro? Any words you want to use to describe
the rest? Head and shoulders above the rest, and he's below many of their head and shoulders.
I like it. Sam?
Best player beside Casemiro in the team.
Okay. Luke Shaw.
I know.
You can describe him however you want, Adam.
Happy that he got a contract.
Can't believe he's been here for nearly 10 years. Insane.
Crazy, right?
Absolutely insane.
A
Like,
decade.
I think the only other people who outrank him is like De Gea and Jones, Phil Jones.
Yeah.
Like,
I actually got some content coming out on that, by the way, so keep an eye out for that on the reels. Very deep dive into it. I say deep dive, it's a minute long. Can't be a deep dive. Midfield, Sabitzer. We'll try to get through these quicker, so just quick 1 word, 2 words if you can, please. Confused. That's what I would use. Yeah, Sam?
Yet to see the best of him.
Okay. McTominay.
Shit.
Shite.
Okay. Bruno.
Who knows?
Frustrating.
Makes you tear what little hair you've got left out at times.
The comedy value in that, I love it. Anthony.
Same.
Yeah. It makes you pull out the rest.
Yeah.
What you've got left on top of
I
that.
start.
You give it a little twist.
Start on the armpit hair. Start on the armpit hair, and just fucking.
Yeah. I like it. Vegost.
Oh God.
Not good enough. Not good enough.
Just sick of it. I'm
Premier League.
sick of it. So just, please, Martial, stay fit. Please. I'm begging for it. For the love of God.
Yeah. I tend to use a sound effect rather than the word for Vegas. Eeyore! He's absolutely donkey on Sunday. Marcus Rashford.
Disappear. Mesut Ozil. He done an Ozil for Arsenal. Remember, he used to disappear. He does it a lot of the time. He might pop up with a goal, and that kind of masks the overall performance. And I know he's been in form scoring goals, but at large points like that, he can just be non-existent and he offers nothing.
It's a ghost. It's ghost, isn't he? In a minute. Yeah. Absolute ghost. Shah Sam's in the chat. He said if it was up to me, I'd say shit to every name that came up.
Hey, it can be up to you, Shah Sam. If you want to put that,
funny.
Like I said, you're more than welcome to. Now, in the first game at the start of the season, can you name the starting 11 that played against Brentford? We did the watch along, didn't we, Sam?
Oh God, fucking hell!
Yeah, that famous watch along. You know what? I'm gonna go back and watch.
De Gea.
Just watch reactions.
Why would you? Did you want to kill yourself? Like
just the reactions because the first half was just like
abysmal.
It's 4-0. What is going on here? What the fuck?
De Gea, Dalot, Maguire, Lissandro. Did Malacia play or did Shaw? Was that Shaw's last game?
Shaw.
Yeah, Shaw. Bruno. It's before Casemiro. Is it McFred? Or is Eriksen in? Is Eriksen in there? Eriksen, McTominay.
Yeah. Do you remember De Gea playing out Eriksen?
Yeah. Oh shit.
Like, oh God.
Eriksen, McTominay, Rashford, Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Elanga.
Last one? No.
Sancho.
Yeah. Jadon Sancho. Bit of a slightly different team in it now. You've got Maguire who was starting. You've got Eriksen starting as a 6. I think he played in that game.
Yeah.
Sancho on the right, Ronaldo up top, and many things, of course, changed after that game. So yeah, there's your little warm up, like we usually do. Slightly different this time. I try switch up every now and then. In terms of the actual game tomorrow, now we touched on that Newcastle performance on Sunday. I don't want to stick on that too much, but we kind of returned from the international break without a bang. It was just absolutely diabolical performance. We lost to a direct rival, whether people call them a direct rival or not. It is when you consider top 4, because I feel like if we would have got 3 points in that game, Champions League was probably nailed on, to be honest. Now it's a bit of a tough ask, and it could start rapidly declining. Brentford themselves have been in fantastic form. As I mentioned before, their record against typical top 6 is actually really good, and Thomas Frank has done a fantastic job there with the players, the current crop of players that he's got. They're currently sitting above Liverpool and Chelsea, who, of course, are playing tonight. If you lads can keep an eye on that score, just because I want to know if the Scousers are getting beat or not.
What time did it kick off?
No. 7 o'clock, I think. Oh, that might be when the teams are out, so I might be.
I think it might be 8 o'clock. I think it might be 8 o'clock to kick off.
Okay, that's all right then. But yeah, they are playing tonight, so that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But who's not to say Brentford aren't direct rivals? Because if they beat us, they go 4 points behind us, which is mad, isn't it, when you think about it as well?
Brentford and Brighton could end up in Europa League next season.
I don't know. It's mad, isn't it?
And Liverpool
Fulham as well.
And Liverpool and Chelsea might not get any European football. It's crazy.
It's been a mad
Absolutely
season. You know, when
crazy.
you look at the table, you're just like,
Liverpool,
what is going on here?
yeah. Let Liverpool be in the Conference League. That's all we want. Let them have
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I don't even. Does anyone know the music to the
No,
Conference League?
no idea.
I couldn't even.
I don't even know what day of the week they play. Do they play on
No, neither
Friday?
do I. It would be Friday. You know, you play every Friday and Saturday then when you're in the
Yeah.
Conference League.
Play
Just out
play
of
it
absolute pure.
play on a Tuesday afternoon. That's when they play.
Yeah. Yeah, but Brentford, I think in the last 10 games, I was looking at the record before. They've had 5 draws, and they've had 2. Obviously, in the last 2, they drew them as well. So we know defensively they're relatively good, but they've also got attackers up top who can be dangerous. Ivan Toney, to mention one, and Berno, I think it's how you pronounce his name, is coming into good form. So if you thought Isaac was a handful on Sunday, you're in for a treat tomorrow, because them two are very tricky customers for any team. And United's obvious, focusing a little bit more on ourselves, United's obvious areas of weaknesses was midfield on Sunday and attacking numbers as well. Just not scoring, no way near enough. And that's where I want to start off the preview. So, Sam, given Vegas' performance on Sunday, you feel like Ten Hag's got to start Martial in this game, right?
Is he fit? That's the question. If he's
I don't know. That's what I mean.
like he's not said anything as far as anyone being injured. Like I know he said Wan-Bissaka's back from illness, and he said Eriksen's gonna be team training tomorrow, but he won't be ready for the game. So
yeah,
that's all he said. So it could well Martial might not even be fit. He might not make the bench, or he might make the bench but not start. So I honestly don't know if he would drop Vegas, especially if he because he was the whole point of the Martial thing was he didn't want to start him until he was 100% fit, right? He wanted to keep training, make sure nothing flared up, and maybe he's now what he's going to do is substitute appearance, and then extend the time as he comes on, or maybe start him for 60 minutes and then bring him off, or whatever it is that he does. So maybe he wants to do that. But I'm at the point now where I would just take Vegas off, put Rashford down the middle, and put Bruno on the left. That's what I would do, because Vegas is just not cutting it anymore. It's just not happening. I don't care what he offers anymore in terms of link-up play, in terms of working hard for the team. You ain't scoring goals, man. It's 19 games, 2 goals. Not good enough. We need to score goals, and I think if you put Rashford down the middle, you get a bit more of that, because you can switch out with Bruno, you can switch out with whoever we play on the right, whether that's Anthony or Sancho or whoever. You can switch it out and stuff like that. I think you can do it that way. So I think we need to look at dropping Vegas, whether it's Martial, whether it's Rashford down the middle. Either way, Vegas has to come out of the team. Whether he does or not, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah. I do think it's a weird one with Vegas, because it's not his fault. Like if anyone on the planet
He's just not good enough. He's just not good enough.
Yeah. If anyone on the planet got asked to play for Manchester United, you're not going to turn it down. To be their main striker and play the amount of games that he has, and he's won a cup, you just wouldn't turn it down. But you can tell the levels in quality. Even when Martial came on Sunday, Adam, you saw in it, like, just even the little subtle things like the cushions, like, when it came into his feet or came into his body, just linked up playing nicely. I had better relationships with the players around him. He's obviously quicker. Obviously, add on to that the striker situation if you want as well. But I wanted to ask you about the midfield situation, which is also an absolute disaster. What's the solution for that going into this game, do you think? Is there an answer to the problem?
Well, I watched the 2 Scottish games over the international break, and I remember watching Scott McTominay, and I was thinking, this fella, he's having, games of his life. At this point, he was defensively and doing really well. He's on the ball and pass and play was actually good as well. And I was like, is this Scott McTominay that I'm watching? I couldn't believe it. And then he picked up with 2 braces. But whenever he puts a red shirt on, he seems to just go down. He tanks. You know how you said, oh, we didn't come back with a bang. The bang we came back was like a fat lady falling down the stairs, and it sounded like EastEnders. That's what it was like. And starting that, man, in midfield, it's just a disaster. It is.
As a 10
I think you
as
need
well,
to take him out.
he was pushed up, wasn't he?
Yeah. I don't even know what his best position is at this point. Ten Hag, I know, has played him twice as a striker late on in games. He has, which kind of says you're not a midfielder, but he's started most of his kind of United career in midfield, but he's just never been good enough. And I think I'm at the point now where you can cut your losses. I'd actually get rid of him in the summer, and I think Ten Hag is going to be ruthless in the summer. But going into this Brentford game, I know they have quite tall and physical kind of players, but I'd probably start a Fred in there instead. Just a bit of. I'm surprised Fred didn't start against Newcastle. Just a bit of intensity, a workhorse in midfield. I think it probably would have helped, but we'll have to wait too late. And then the changes we done, I understand why he took the two centre halves on, kind of brought on a more forward. But look, it's a gamble, it is, and it didn't pay off. The midfield, it is a worry because we look so lost without Casemiro, and it's coming now. We're going to have to look for nearly a replacement now. I know he's getting a bit older, and we can get a couple of years out of him, but when he's suspended or injured, the drop in quality, it's night and day. It is, and you just need a second option. You do, and we don't have depth. Why can't we have the squad depth that City have? People complain then, oh well, you can't start everyone, but they don't seem to complain when they're in the City team. Like Calvin Phillips would have helped us now over these next couple of games, and that's the difference between us and City, and why they're higher in the table as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just give me the perfect segue actually, because the next thing I was going to discuss with Sam. Brentford obviously play with a back five. Sam, we're obviously going to have a lot of the possession. But last time we played, as I'm sure you can remember with that watch along, they absolutely murdered us on the counter, especially on the fourth goal, I think it was. Like Adam touched on there, is this game crying out for a Fred to break up play, stop them transitions? Is that, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, sure, and on paper, definitely. But what Fred do we get? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like we could the first half, he could have an absolute shocker, giving the ball away, throwing himself into tackles needlessly, giving fouls away. Like he could have one of those halves, and then he comes out the second half and scores a 60-yard screamer. You don't know. Like this is the problem with Fred, and it always has been. When he's good, he's absolutely fantastic. He's one of the best midfielders in the league. When he's bad, it's disaster, absolute disaster. And there's no in between. He never has a 6.5, 7 out of 10 game, does he? Ever. Like it's always like an 8 out of 10, or he's a 4. That's where he lies. Like that's it. And it's just that's the only thing about Fred. I like him a lot, but if he could sort out his consistency, he'd be quality. He'd be a great squad player. He'd be a great midfielder to have in the squad to bring on or to deploy in certain games and stuff. But his consistency is just not there. Even game to game, it's not there. In an actual game, half to half, it's not there. So it's just, would I take the risk rather than McTominay? For sure, because I think Fred has a lot more qualities and he's played decent games for us recently. So I think I'd probably take the risk there, where Scott McTominay hasn't had a good game since. Remember when initially when he was keeping Casemiro out of the team and he was having that good run? That's the last time he played well for us, I think. I don't think he's played anywhere near that level since. And I think he probably will go in the summer along with a few other people. And it's imperative that we get a creative / boisterous number 8. And I'd say we need to get backup DMing as well. Like when Casemiro is not available, whether that's through injury or suspension, we can throw them in, because he clearly doesn't want to play as a Dan Iqbal, a Kobe Main who's not even seen the light of day either, has he? You'd think that might be an opportunity there as well. So he clearly doesn't think these two young lads are ready. So maybe we need to look at an option, bringing somebody in the summer who can, when Casemiro's not available, like Adam said with City, they've got players available. Obviously, Calvin Phillips different level to a Rodri, but he's good enough that it works and it can be deployed in games.
Not too much of a drop off, is it? That's
like with Arsenal, Jesus, very good striker, and when he was out, they had Nketiah, who not on the same level as Jesus, but did the job, scored the goals, did what he needs to do. That's what we need in the team. We don't have it. So yeah, I'd play Fred, but again, who knows what sort of performance we're going to get from him. Daniel Raj is saying, we paid peanuts for Vegas, cannot expect him to be the walnut. I've never heard that phrase before, but
very good.
Interesting.
Very good, I'll take that. Yeah.
Going to be tough to break them. And then Aaron is saying McTominay is about as useful as a glass hammer. So
it's true. It's true. I actually really agree with that point. Since the start, when people are actually debating, how crazy is that to think now? People are debating, saying, is McTominay keeping Casemiro out the squad? Whoa. Look at him now. You're like, it's just, they're not even near. They're not even in the same realm, in the same conversation whatsoever. It is a tricky situation in the midfield tomorrow. But guys in the chat, there's currently 7 people in the chat. Let me know how you would go about it. Would you play Fred and Sabitzer? Because even Fred and Sabitzer, I think, away at the new camp, was it? I think, or it might have been a different game where they had a bit of a stinker, and for 50, 60 minutes, it just did not look good.
I feel bad for
at all.
Sabitzer as well. Like, he doesn't know who he's playing with week to week. He's fucking next to McTominay. He's next to Fred. No. He's then next, like, he's been next to Casemiro, like, for briefly. Poor guy doesn't know who his midfield is half the time, and he's just like, no wonder he's not having consistent performances because he doesn't know who he's playing with week to week.
That's it. You need patterns of play. Moving from midfield to striking position, Adam, we're obviously looking for a striker ourselves in the summer. Brentford's main man, Ivan Toney's been fantastic for them this season. He's got 17 goals and 4 assists in 26 games. Can you give me a reason why we shouldn't be looking at him?
Maybe all the
one reason.
Kind of charge.
Oh, well, aside from I kind of walked into that then, didn't I? Like, But yeah, aside from that, if you was just looking at him as a pure player and a talent, is there any reason why we shouldn't be discussing him? Because we're all talking about Osimhen, talking about Kane. Why are we not discussing Toney?
No, he's tall, he's physical, really, really strong, can hold a defender off, good in the air, good with his feet. He seems quite fast as well. He's a complete kind of centre forward, someone who would fit the bill. And I think the only reason that there hasn't been chat is because we don't know how long this potential suspension could be. So if you sign him, you mightn't get him for potentially, like, there's rumours 15 games and everything like that, which is an insane amount. Mitrovic got an 8-game ban for kind of pushing the ref. So if you're kind of betting on a game and there has been over 100 charges.
How long did Trippier get when he got done for it in Spain?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah,
6
it's quite
months.
long, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
so.
Yeah. Maybe that is something. And United, the PR machine they're not going to want shit like that, are they, throwing about, to be fair? No.
Like, so potentially you have half a season without your kind of main striker who you're going in to buy. You could maybe look, in the January window next year. I suppose. Well, will be next year. If the charges are already dropped, but I can imagine then the price goes up. So it's hard to even get a price evaluation on the guy because you don't know what the outcome of this is going to be. But if this whole event didn't happen, I reckon we will be going in for him, and you'd see other teams going in for him as well. Potentially a Chelsea. You know who I think he'd do really, really well for? I think he fit like a glove. I suppose a hand into a glove. Arsenal. I think he'd do jobs there. It's just a shame about the whole allegations now. I think that's the only thing it's the only thing blocking his path to a bigger team.
Because 17 goals and 4 assists in 26 games. I know Brentford have been doing well this season, but for a Brentford side, like, I know it doesn't always add up to you put him in a better team and performs better, but you can only imagine with better service, the capabilities you were just touching on then with his back to goal, can play really well, can bring other players in, great in the air, relatively quick.
Doesn't miss penalties. I don't think he's missed a penalty either.
Yeah, he's an absolute clinical player from penalties as well. So I'd thought of a question out there because I think it's an interesting thing with Ivan Toney, and it'd be interesting to see if he does go in the summer where he does. But with that kind of lingering betting thing, you never know. Sam, again, more than welcome to add on to the striker situation as well if you want. I just wanted to get onto the next section, which is about goalkeepers, and this section is called Beekeepers purely because everyone ignored my fantastic idea for a thumbnail, so I'm going to include it in here. We've got 2 men playing tomorrow, 2 Spanish men called David. This goalkeeper debate has gone on for most of the season, Sam, so I'm going to put you on the spot. Where do you stand right now? If you had to make a clinical decision, do you sign David De Gea on a new contract, or do you bring in a new keeper who fits the mould of a modern goalkeeper?
Depends on who's our owners in the summer. Let's say
finances are not an issue. You can
finance not an issue. I go get a new goalkeeper. Ooh. End of. If we have the money to spend and debts are cleared, we're under financial fair play, and we ship a couple of players out and everything's cushy, I go get a new goalkeeper. No problem. Like, not even a second thought.
Wow.
I just think the way Ten Hag wants to play plays out from the back. Like Adam alluded to at the beginning of the show, Varane was losing his shit with him when his distribution, when we wanted him to play out to Dalot, and he delayed and hesitated, and then he hit it long, and we lost the ball possession. So I think Ten Hag relies on that sort of goalkeeper. He wants to play out from the back. He wants to have a goalkeeper who's good with his feet. He's able to play accurate passes to the opposition, and we all know, we've said it every single game, every single show, his distribution is poor, really poor, and I think that hinders us. I think if we had a goalkeeper with really good distribution, I think we'd be able to retain possession a lot more, be able to counter attack a bit quicker, be able to push up the pitch, etc. Because all the players would know the ball's getting to me. I don't have to worry. The ball's going to get to me. And I just think, again, his shot stopping is second to none. Absolutely fantastic. I can't think of a better shot stopper in the world than him. He's amazing at it. Every other part of his game lets him down. He's bad commanding his box and in corners and set pieces. His distribution's bad. He has a couple of errors in him at times. Like we saw, remember the little leg thing where he was doing like a dance, and I was just like,
Everton, wasn't it?
yeah.
Post, I think.
And then there was that other one where it rolled underneath him or something, or his hands was that. It was
Been a couple.
so. I just think there's better options out there. You got the likes of Diogo Costa for, is it Porto? He plays
70
for?
million. Yeah, Porto. But he's got release clause, only like 70
Yeah,
million.
you've got David Raya, who's out of contract. You've got the likes of Jose Sa at Wolves, who I think could be a good option. You got Sanchez at Brighton, again, though that could cost you a fortune because Brighton always want money for their man. So it's just, yeah, if money's no object, I'm getting anybody else. But if the Glazers still in charge come summertime, just sign into a new deal and we can figure it out going forward, because they ain't going to spend and they ain't going to let us spend. So
It is a hard decision in Adam, because I wouldn't want to be that guy in the boardroom making that decision, because it could literally go either way. If you bring in a new keeper, the lights under Old Trafford, the pressure, like adaptation period, are they going to be successful? Will they be able to handle that? And then if you sign De Gea on from, that's guaranteed. Then you've got 4 or 5 years, whatever the deal is, of like guaranteed of what you get from him. Which again, fantastic shot stopping, but the rest of his game, it's like having a midfielder who's got passing like Scholes, but can't tackle, can't dribble. So then, you know what I mean? Like, do you just take one quality and not have the rest?
I think we should be looking for somebody, like, we just want to be getting the right players for Ten Hag and how he actually wants to play. I don't think we should kind of hold on to this kind of sentiment of, these people have been around for 10 years. Phil Jones has been around 10 years as being a servant for most part. The first 5 years he was playing regularly, even under Mourinho. But I think it's kind of, loyalty is kind of dead now. And if he's still, like, the rumors are coming out saying, oh, he still wants a big contract. If you're looking at it, he doesn't deserve more than the likes of Allison and Ederson, who are currently on a lot less than him, by the way. And then we're going to be still paying him more weekly, with this kind of reduced contract. I think the rumors are around 200k. I'm looking at somebody potentially younger, but it is a risk. We've seen, like, in the past, how long it can take to get the goalkeeping position right. After Schmeichel left, it took a long time to get the likes of Van der Sar. You've had some shocking keepers between that time.
Bartes, Bosnich, Taibbi.
What was the Danish one? Roy Carroll, yeah. There's a Danish one. It's Lingard. It's like Lindegaard.
Lindegaard,
yeah. Lindegaard. We had is it Kushak? Thomas Kushak?
Yeah, Kushak. Victor Valdez.
Valdez. We have had some stinkers, to be fair, haven't we?
Yeah.
So it is a tough ask trying to, kind of replace, and then you're coming into the likes of Old Trafford under the lights. But if it came to me personally, I'd be looking at a new goalkeeper, someone good with their feet, and there is a few options on the, I suppose, in the window there. Potentially you can go. You're going to be looking at maybe potentially 50 to 70 million though for some of these kind of young, good distributors, which is a good chunk. So it depends on who the owners is. If Sam said if it's still the Glazers, I think you're going to have to try and lock De Gea down, because you need a bit of stability then, and they're not going to spend the money on, an up-and-coming keeper.
Yeah, I do tend to agree with that. We've got 8 people in the chat. Let me know about the goalkeeper situation. David De Gea this side, David Raya maybe that side. Very, very similar sounding names as well, both Spanish keepers. But let us know which way you would go. Are you tying him down to a contract, or are you going to go spend 60 to 70 million?
The thing is as well, like, it depends what he wants wage-wise, because there's a lot of players that don't deserve the wage that they're on. I think Sancho's on 350k, I believe. He doesn't the way he's played for us does not deserve that wage, like by any stretch of the
100k a
imagination.
week, the way he's
So
playing.
that you need to be really careful with these contracts, like because this is the situation we ended up before. We signed all these players to massive contracts, Phil Jones being an example, and we can't shift them because nobody wants to pay their wages. And then we end up losing them for free because we can't sell them, we can't shift them, and then we lose them for free, so it costs us. But it's just like same old shit, same old United every fucking season. So we got to be tricky. It's going to be tricky.
I did read an interesting kind of statistic about us. We have the second lowest defensive line in the league. Even like below, relegation candidates. So we're kind of holding players back so they're actually closer to the keeper, especially in build-up. And if you have a good distributor of the ball, you can get up the pitch a lot higher. And that's kind of one of the main factors now it's impacting. We've been calling it for weeks. Remember that first half against Barcelona? We were absolutely getting pressed to hell. We couldn't get out. He was passing the ball out. I think he was picking Ten Hag on the sideline out more than any of his own teammates, which kind of said everything. But he does have that quality of making an unbelievable save and keeping you in the game.
People are
and people are interacting with it, are they? They're not too happy.
People are disagreeing with us in the chat, but finish your point and then I'll.
Yeah, he's a good shot stopper. You can't deny that, but we kind of want to modernize, and we got to move on. And we've gotten rid of better goalkeepers in the past, and we have replaced them in the end. So why not do this now? He served his purpose in the last 10 years, being a really, really good servant. I don't mean to sound harsh in that. Probably in the top 3 all-time United great goalkeepers, you could say. So he's a legend of the club, but I think it's time to kind of move on now.
Chivy saying, I get where you're lot coming from regarding De Gea. I don't see it as a priority or a pressing issue right now. There are far more pressing issues and positions that need addressing. Aaron is saying, I think there's more important areas than De Gea. He still has enough credit in the bank for me. So
see, no, I disagree with that because you have to sign him on a contract. It's going to be 5 years for the next, for the next 5 years, he's going to be on 200 grand a week. So it is a pressing issue because if you don't sign him on a contract now, he can either go for free and then you lose out on a goalkeeper. You've got to go buy a new one. So you have to make that decision now. You can't just leave it, or that's what I mean. So you either sign a contract or you go buy another keeper. That's the predicament we're in. We can't just float about and leave it lingering. Otherwise, it definitely will be a pressing issue next season. Yeah. But we'll move on to a little bit more positive things. I'll keep leaving your comments about De Gea if you want in the section. I want to talk about Luke Shaw. Erik ten Hag was talking about him in a press conference today, which I would have been live for, but had other issues going on. But yeah, he was talking about Luke Shaw, about his new contract, which obviously fantastic news. He said, I think it's a good message. An England international. He's doing really well this season. He's a modern left full back, but can also play other positions. He matches the standards we want to have. Are we happy as a collective? We don't have to spend too long on this. With Luke Shaw signing it, was there any worrying issues at all with him? If you're sat in front of him now saying sign the contract, anything you'd be mindful of at all?
When I think about it, he has been really, really good. One of our kind of better performers this season, and for the most part, over the last maybe 2-3 seasons, even though we haven't been great in a sense, he has been relatively good. And I'm also kind of looking, if you wanted to kind of try and, kind of upgrade that position, who is on the market right now in terms of a left back that you could go for? There's not many. And I think you need that kind of consistent performer who's been here a while for that kind of side. And then you have the youngster coming through in Malacia. Yeah. So there's your backup. I think we're okay on the left. I think he's warranted a new contract. I don't know if it's a pay rise. I haven't read into anything like that yet.
Slight bump. Not too much, but it's a slight bump.
Yeah, a slight bump. Usually you are kind of rewarded for that. And he has been... He'd probably be in the top 5 kind of performers this season. He's versatile now. I didn't know he could play in so many kind of positions as well. Yeah. Played centre back, so there's always that option as well when Alessandro is unavailable. So yeah, I think he's done a good job and he's warranted the contract.
Sam, do you second that notion?
Yeah, for the most part, I do worry because it's only recently he's picked up form.
Yeah.
He had that period before and after the Euros where he was Roberto Carlos and all that. But before that, he was majorly inconsistent. He'd have moments, but never anything put together. He was frustrating at times. His switching off worried me quite a lot. Like, he wouldn't track back and he'd switch off when he did and leave us open. And then obviously he was playing with Maguire, which didn't help him at all. That caused a lot of issues. He seems to be more comfortable with Lissandro on his side now, which is good. But yeah, I just worry that he could have a dip in form again, and hopefully if he does, it's only a short period. It's not years like it was previously. Obviously the leg break affects you. Like, it was a horrible injury that happened to him, and it took him forever to get back, and I can only imagine what sort of physical sort of pain and rehab he had to go through to get back to this point. But for the recent period under Ten Hag and stuff like that, he's been really, really good. Like Adam said, bar Casemiro and Lissandro and Rashford's vein of form, he's been one of our best players. He's been up there, and you wouldn't have expected that after those first two games against Brighton and Brentford, would you? Because Malacia took his spot, because the whole team was fucking shocking, and now he's took it back. So, and he seems to be keeping it, which is good. It's good that we've tied him down to a new deal. I hope his wages are not absolutely ridiculous, because I don't want that issue. I don't want that issue again when in 3 years he goes off the boil and we have to try and sell him and we can't because he's on 400 grand a week or something stupid. You know what I mean? So, Shah Sam's in the chat. He's saying Sa, as in I think he means Jose Sa, passes the eye test for me. I don't know about the distribution. So,
yeah, maybe he's talking about himself with a Sa and then adding the M. Shah Sam. Passes the eye test for me. Dan Raj would just sell Sancho in the summer. That's a whole different kind of word.
Let's not open that can today.
I want to open that, but I'll speak to you in the chat about that, Dan. Moving on to the next kind of bit that Ten Hag touched on in the press conference. He got asked about, how much have we missed Casemiro and Eriksen. He said 2 quality players, the midfield department. Games will always be decided in the midfield. When you miss 2 quality players, it's clear, but you have a squad. If you don't have them, you still have to win. He's obviously playing out there and saying, like, them huge fucking misses in this team. I mean, if you take Rodri and De Bruyne out of Man City, the performance is going to drop off. You take Kimmich and Goretzka out of Bayern Munich, the whole performance is going to drop off. It's just obvious it's going to happen. You take Fabinho and Henderson out of Liverpool, they'd still be shit. But you take my point that any team would...
Odegaard out of Arsenal.
There we go. That's what I'm saying. Like, Partey, prick, but if you take him and Odegaard out of the thing, completely different team. So... any team would seriously miss these players, wouldn't they, Adam?
Yeah, 100%. As you pointed out, those kind of top clubs a lot around Europe, if you take their kind of best kind of midfielders out, they just don't tick as well. And look at the drop in quality then we have. We have Scott McTominay then coming in, who I know we touched on earlier. It's just night and day it is. That's why we need to be kind of looking at squad depth now. We need to get into that point. We have somewhat of a spine. We're getting it together. But when certain players are unavailable, we need to be able to kind of swap them out. Potentially, you need to kind of look in the future. And it's looking like, obviously, the striker position, another hopefully defensive midfielder, and maybe another centre half as well. I'm trying to think, if you took the likes of, say, Odegaard and Partey out of Arsenal, do they play as well consistently? They don't. You mentioned Rodri as well, who has been available for the most part this season, and it's why City are being relatively consistent at times. And I watch him a good bit, and the guy he's a really, really good player. So when he's out of the team, I know they have Phillips, but if you looked at the minutes, I think people have touched on it. Why Southgate selecting him when he hasn't played, I think it hasn't been more than, is it 200 minutes or 300 minutes?
I think he's played a handful of games for City, quite literally.
He selected Maguire though, and he hasn't played barely for us. So you know what I mean. I don't think game time or form means anything. Because if it did, Tomori would be in that team every single time, but he's not. So.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it doesn't matter who or what team it is. If you take your best players out, the team is going to be impacted massively. Maybe the guys, who are coming into the fray, their teammates aren't as confident in them, so they're kind of like, being a wee bit more defensive, and they're not really kind of pushing on a lot more than they could, because we've seen with Casemiro, he allows everyone in front of him just to attack. That's all their purpose is, attack, and then he can defend with the defense as well. With McTominay, it feels like everyone in front of him has to defend. Like they all come back and defend the whole time. You have to defend as a team. But how many more games is it? 3?
2.
2 more. So we've got
2.
Brentford tomorrow, Everton on Saturday or Sunday, whenever it is, and then Casemiro's finally back, which is just like.
So he's back for the semi-final, is he?
Yeah. He'll be playing that. So I see the thing from Samuel Lucker.
Sevilla on Thursday. Next Thursday.
Yeah, Samuel Lucker said Eriksen and Casemiro should be starting by next week. Hopefully.
Oh my god.
Yeah, which is just
I'm definitely tuning in for that.
so nice, isn't it? Just to hear them words. It's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Sam, anything else to add?
Season we doing a title charge.
Well, who knows? Who knows? He's how many games has he missed, Casemiro? He's got to be like getting double figures now.
He did 3 in that, and now 4 in this one, so that's 7 in total.
And some of the games that started,
he wasn't getting into the team.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
It's like nearly a quarter of the season.
So it just makes you think, doesn't it? Like, but these things happen in season, I suppose.
You see the record as well. I think it was 7 games Casemiro didn't play in. We didn't win any of them. And then the 19, I think 19 he's played, we won 17 of them, drawn 1 and lost 1.
It's crazy, isn't it? That's how good he is.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah, I don't want no one chatting to me that he ain't the best DM in the world. For me, right now, he's flawless. He's unbelievable. Because I'm conscious of the time, I want to just move on a little bit. It's just to the last quote. He got asked about the performance against Newcastle. He said, we had a very bad performance against Newcastle because the opponent wanted it more. They were sharper. You can see that in the challenges. We won only 16 from 61 challenges in the offence. And in the defence, the opponents beat us 48 from 78. You can't win a game like that. It felt like that, didn't it, at the time, Sam? Like, from minute 1, we were just never going to win that game. There was never a moment in there where we was like, yeah, this is it. And would you agree with that? It all came down to body language and how we approached it.
Yeah, the attitude wasn't there. Like, and I really, really hate these words, but passion and desire. I hate using it. It's fucking like Ollie's ruined those words for me. Absolutely ruined those words. But yeah, it wasn't there. We didn't fight. The people weren't up for it. The players just seemed lethargic, anemic. Just nothing there. No sharp edges. Especially in our forward line. Like, when we've got a really poor midfield, which we did have, you need your forwards to shirk some of the responsibility and step up. Rashford did it. Vegas was terrible, like abysmal, worse than usual. Anthony was okay at times, but his shots weren't that great, and Bruno was erratic at best. So your whole forward line just wasn't functioning completely, so that made it difficult to score goals. And then we just struggled in the battle in the midfield because we had likes of McTominay playing in the 10 for some bizarre reason, and Sabitzer, who has only been here for like just over 2 months and he's barely got any game time and he doesn't know who he's playing with and he's struggling. So we just get cut open through the midfield, and then Lissandro and Varane having to deal with fucking everything. Just trying to put fires out left, right, and centre. Trying to think. Dallo didn't have a great game either, to be honest. He was getting done by Trippier on that.
Saint Maximin
as well. Trippier was having Luke Shaw on toast quite a few times as well. So we were just getting battered. Nobody was aside from Lissandro and Varane, nobody was doing anything about it. We were just lackadaisical about it. And then you saw the reaction of Lissandro when he went off. He was not fucking happy. He was shouting, screaming, he was banging the chair, he was proper pissed off. So it just shows you. And I just think I thought maybe we'd come out in the second half and show something, but we seemed worse in the second half, if anything. We came out in the second half, it just seemed worse. And then when Marshall came on, it got a little bit better. We showed a little bit more something up front, but not enough to put anything in the back of the net. So shocking performance, and I hope Ten Hag has got into him, and I hope they show something tomorrow, because if they don't, fans is at home, fans will let them know and they'll get on their fucking backs about it. So
not to drop like a bomb of a stat just before we get into the head-to-head record and injuries and stuff, but I'm sure you guys have probably seen it as well. we're only 3 points better off this season than last season. Is that not weird to you lot? Only 3 points. Like it felt
But
like we've had such a fantastic season,
but
and I
we've
know
got a
we've won a trophy, Sam.
and we're
I
in
know, I know,
we're in 2 semi-finals. Well,
I know.
quarter-final and semi-final.
Yeah, I get that, but it just feels weird to me. Like it feels like so different from last season, but it's 3 points in it.
We've got a better team as well. I think we've got better personnel.
Oh yeah,
in the team,
sure.
So
Yeah, but thoughts on Adam just quickly before.
Perspective, yeah. Perspective's kind of a bit of everything. I think we finished on 58 points that season. We're on what is it, 50 now, and there's something like 10 games to go, and I think we're going to get more than 8 points, so it is going to be an improvement on last season. So because I remember the end of last season when
just
the
gave
players
up. Just gave up.
they gave up. Yeah, we kicked the bucket. We did last season. Yeah, every single one of them they did, and we ended up losing like nearly 8 games in the last 10 or something like that. It was insane.
Yeah.
Every team was out for blood against us, but there is kind of stats going around, and one that I did see is in the Premier League era, we've never kind of gone 4 games without, a goal, and potentially we can do that if we don't score a goal tomorrow.
Oh fucking hell!
And
Said it now.
yeah, the last time we done that was under Fergie before the Premier League, the modern kind of football did kick off. Since the cup final, we haven't scored. We never scored at Anfield. We never scored at St James's Park. We didn't score against, was it Southampton?
Yeah.
As well. Yeah, and we usually are used to this kind of second half, coming out and we kind of lift our levels, but we haven't seen that in a long time now.
Yeah.
We used to be known as second half FC, so there is kind of worrying stats going around. But I wouldn't look too much into that particular one from last season because I do think we are, especially, as much as next week we might have our starting midfield back. And where have our problems been? In midfield.
Martial's back as well, potentially.
And Martial's back. Yeah. So I think we can have a nice, finish to the season. And that's important, especially when you're going into kind of the later stages of, cup competitions and then in the league, given the position we're in. Beat Spurs, and I think we're looking good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll park that there. Just before we dive into the quick fire questions, we've just got a quick update on injuries and take a brief look at our head-to-head record. So obviously Garnacho, Ericsson, Donny still out. Casemiro suspended for the next 2 games. Wan-Bissaka is back in training. He's back from illness, but I'm not sure if he's ready to start or not. And of course, Anthony Martial didn't shatter in the last game, so he should be available as well, unless we've not heard anything. Head-to-head record, we've played him 3 times in the modern era, winning 2, losing 1, scoring 6, conceding 4. So there's something to leave you with a little bit of positivity there, aside from the goals. Conceded in the first game this season, second game this season, should I say. Just before I do quick fire questions, Shah Sam saying, don't crucify me, but what if we go back to McFred instead of trying new combination in the midfield? We know what to expect from them. We are at home anyway.
Crucify him. Crucify him now.
I know what. The way it's gone, Sabitzer and Fred hasn't worked. McTominay and Fred hasn't worked. Like, nothing's worked. At least sometimes McFred slightly functioned, but I don't know. I don't think Ten Hag will do it, to be completely honest with you. Scoreboard saying we're too reliant on Rashford for scoring. That's another thing we discussed at the start of the show as well, Scoreboard.
But he ain't scoring. He's not scoring.
He's not, but in compared to the other ones, fucking hell. Like, Anthony, Sancho, Vegas, they've got Bruno. 3-4 goals.
Bruno
as well. They really need to start chipping in. And I was saying this 2-3 months ago. Like, it's getting ridiculous at this point. But yeah, let's do some quick fire questions. So tomorrow night against Brentford at Old Trafford, will we score more than 1?
No.
Will Anthony Martial start?
No.
Yeah.
Will Brentford score?
Yes.
Yeah.
1 surprise selection for tomorrow.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't think there will be any surprise selections for United.
You think same again, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. 1 player to watch on Brentford.
And Berno. He's very good. He's a tricky player.
Yeah, I'd say the same.
And your prediction for man of the match?
will be a United player.
I was going to say Ben Me.
Ben Me.
That's who I think is going to get it.
David Raya probably will have a world of his life, won't he? That'll be the fucking case. We'll try and score for our life, and he'll have an absolute worldie. So yeah, David Raya, I'd say.
I'm going to go the other David De Gea.
Nice. I like it. 2 Davids, 2 Spanish Davids again. Predicted 11s. Who wants to? Adam, do you want to lead us with that, please?
David De Gea, net, Dallo, Varane, Lissandro, Shaw. I'm going to go Fred, Sabitzer, Bruno.
Okay.
In midfield. And up front, I'm going to go Rashford, Martial, and Sancho. And I think he's only going to start Sancho because Thomas Frank and Sancho have a wee bit of a history.
Salty.
So I think.
Do you remember that?
It might get a reaction out of him, and maybe Ten Hag might play on that and say he's been saying bad things about you basically in the past. Won't prove him wrong.
Like, was it Fergie who slapped Rio on the back of the head and said about Craig Bellamy? I think it was. He said he's going to do you today.
Yeah.
He's been talking about you. Are you going to let him do that to you? And he's like, what? What are you on about?
Poking a bear.
Yeah.
Poke the bear.
You're thinking I'm like a grown man. He just fucking slapped me on the back of the head. Yeah, okay, I don't mind that team. I don't mind it. Kind of clutching at straws, really, aren't we, in terms of selection? Sam?
I agree with Adam all the way up until the forward line. I think it'd be Rashford, Weghorst, Anthony.
Rashford, Weghorst, Anthony. Same again against Newcastle. I'll switch up a little bit. I'll go De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Lissandro, Shaw. I think it's going to be another experiment in midfield because nothing's worked at all since he's tried it. So I think Fred and McTominay could go back in, and I think Sabitzer deployed a little bit further ahead.
I'm gonna kill
Bruno
myself.
on the right hand. Bruno on the right hand side. Martial up top. Rashford on the left. Or Anthony on the right. Bruno on the left. Rashford through the middle. Maybe. That's how I see it going. Just to switch up a little bit. Let us know in the comment section. Predicted 11 guys, or who you think's going to start in midfield is probably a better question, because you don't want to be putting 11 players each. Score predictions.
Interchanging.
Is what?
Interchanging between Martial and Rashford. They used to interchange the whole time up front.
I even like
seeing that again.
Bruno and Martial had a quite good relationship as well. You remember that the free kick against City, the little scoop over the thing. Like them two have good fight.
I think was it on pre-season and Bruno was doing the vlogging, and he was filming Martial, and he was like, "You're gonna score some goals this season. He's like, you're gonna get me some assists and get me some passes." So.
Yeah, that's why we need him fit, don't we, Martial, man? We're crying out for him just to stay fit, because if he goes behind again, it's Weghorst for the rest of the season. You can pretty much bank on that. Aaron saying I won't mind seeing Lindelof in DM. I'm not on it. I appreciate other people. I appreciate tonight.
I'd rather see Lissandro. If you're gonna do it.
I agree. Yeah. But then you might struggle with the ball progression from the back as well. So it's a double-edged sword in a sense. Score prediction, Adam, please.
I think 1-1.
Who scores?
I'm gonna go Rashford and why not Tony?
Okay. I think that's a fair bet if you're a betting man. Sam?
Also gonna go 1-1. Tony penalty and Anthony with one of his checking on his left and ping it. Nice shouts. I like them, to be fair. I'm going 2-1. Martial, Sabitzer, and Bruno to score for them. I think it's 1-1, and then either Sabitzer scores a rocket or Martial comes on and scores as well. Get your score predictions down in the comment section and your goal scorers as well. We want to hear what you guys are thinking and try to gauge where you're at in terms of your positivity and negativity. That concludes the preview for today, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to become a real Red Ultra, you can do that by clicking the join button. The join button. You can click the join button next to the notification bell, and you get a chance to feature on the show. You get a Badge 16 name, and you get exclusive content. The membership videos go up every Monday, so that's last night we did Dallo versus Frimpong because there's a lot of talk around that at the minute. So yeah, that was a very good video. I hope people enjoyed it. And yeah, make sure you follow us on social media as well. All the handles are at the side of the graphic now, or just type in Real Reds Talk and you should be able to find us. Scoreboard saying 1-0. Slight positivity, but we don't score many goals, do we? So I tend to agree with that. I'll be live for the watch along tomorrow from 7 o'clock. Please do come and join me. Is what?
I thought he meant the Liverpool game.
1-0. Is it kicked off?
Oh no, it isn't. Yeah, it's
Oh,
kicked
no.
off just now, first minute, but I thought he meant that.
Right,
I was like, bloody hell, that's kicked off quick, hasn't it?
I know, yeah, Jesus. Would have been
No.
a nice little bit of news. Yeah, I'll be live from the watch along 7 o'clock tomorrow with Team News. Make sure you come and join me. It's not on TV, so you might want to, come and join me on the watch along. Very nice. Cheers for coming on, lads. Any final thoughts before we go?
Yeah, just follow us on all the socials. Consider joining the members club. It is well worth it. Nick puts a lot of effort into the videos, and I put a little bit of news tidbits that I don't put anywhere else. So I'll put them out as and when we get them or we find them. And yeah, just there's some stuff. We're trying to get stuff happening. We're trying to get new things happening and stuff like that. So do stay tuned. We're trying to grow this as big as possible. So yeah, stay tuned. We will have more stuff happening. We promise you.
Yeah. Adam, any final thoughts to leave us with?
Just hoping that I'm wrong tomorrow and we actually win the game.
Well, I'm going to the game, so I hope so.
Okay. Yeah. Hopefully we win. Yeah. It'll be just before, Casemiro and Eriksen are kind of back. Just build a little momentum there and then have a strong finish to the season.
Yeah, it's a banger. United to win 2-1. Let's go. Take care, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.